How do you get to the point of living a life that you actually love? The answer is you design it. John Salzwedel is joining me, and we're going to talk about his experience of having lived through all the stress and all the noise and the fast changes and running a pretty successful business and then hitting a wall and realizing that he was living his life by the seat of his pants. So he took the time and he figured out how to do it. He designed his life and he went out and lived it. And we're going to show you how to do it too. It's amazing. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share actual real life experiences of people who have been there and done that and finding better in their own lives. Because, one of the things I found in my life is that sometimes learning the best path to success is by following others who've been there and done that. And so today, John Salzwedel is joining me. And John, welcome to Finding Better. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks a lot for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so let me just introduce you to John, folks. So John is a coach and he's a speaker and he's the author of a book called Stop Leaving Life on the Table. Okay? Pretty cool. He helps people find hope. Hope, right? By giving them tools to find what they believe, find what's important to them, and find out what they want. And it's all about living intentionally and designing your life instead of just living it and accepting whatever comes along your way, right? And it's about learning who you really are deep down. And then once you've done that work, figuring out what success means to you. John, welcome to the show again. All right.
Thank you.
So you've got a story. You've got a story on what your experiences have been and how you got to this point. Why don't you share that story with us?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, the my story, probably the place to go back to. Well, let's go back about 30 years when I was trying to find a job, trying to find a place to be, and I ended up in the insurance industry, which I didn't figure I would ever do. Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
it. It's
not
just
not not very many kids, aside from what they try to show you on the progressive commercials. Not very many kids show being in life insurance as being what they want to do when they grow up, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great industry and it does a lot of good things. But
Absolutely.
I didn't plan on being there. And I started at the bottom. I opened the mail, I made copies, I cleaned the bathrooms, and I did every job at the company except be accountant. I don't speak accounting and I don't try to speak accounting. But I ended up after about 30 years, I was CEO and owner of a national insurance wholesaler. And great company. I was surrounded by fantastic people that I love to see every day and see outside of the office. It was just a really good experience. And I was just dead inside. I had everything from the outside. You look at it, I had a successful job, a successful company, successful family. Everything was perfect. Everything that society and people around you will tell you that's success. I had all of that. What I didn't have was the desire to get out of bed in the morning, the desire to solve problems anymore, the desire to really go after new and exciting things and try new things. It became a day-to-day grind. And for me, that was really, really hard because I like to be 100% in and doing it with all my energy and all my effort. After doing that for a while, I figured out something's got to change, but
All
I didn't
right.
know what to do.
So let me unwind a little bit about your
Sure.
story. When you first started out, you didn't know what you were going to do, and I shared this because there's a lot of young people out there that are trying to find their way, right?
Mhm.
And it sounds like what you did is you did something. You figured something out. You just went to work. You didn't overanalyze it. You picked up something that was available and you just went to work. And over 30 years, you worked your way into being the CEO of a big insurance wholesale company. Is that about right?
That's about
And
right. Yeah.
and throughout the journey, we all live in a world where we feel like we have to impress the world, right? That we have to fit a certain mold, and that's what we go after, and that's what we do. And it sounds like, and I can relate to your story because I've been there too, right? Some people might call it a midlife crisis or whatever, but at some point in your life, you say to yourself, "What am I doing?" I mean, is that kind of where you got to?
Absolutely, absolutely. I knew what I was doing meant something, but I also knew that I had something else to give and something different than what I was giving. And I was trying to find ways to do that within when you're CEO, you have a little bit of room to move around and say, well, I can try this, I can try that, and try to find ways to plug it in. And after a while, I just figured out I'm not going to be able to plug this in enough. I was hopeful,
Interesting.
and for many
Yeah.
people, they'll be able to, but I was not able to at that point.
So you reached the top of the mountain and you looked around and you said, "There's got to be more to this. There's got to be more than I got to be able to do something with this, right?"
Yeah,
And
this
it
is a nice
sounds like
mountain, but I want to be on that one over there.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that. It's like, okay, so you're at the top of the mountain, and people go, okay, okay, so I've reached the top. I've reached the top. I've reached the pinnacle of success. And you know what, folks? One of the things that's wonderful about life is that there's not just one mountain.
Right, right.
There's lots of mountains, right? And so you, like you said, you looked around and you said, I want to go to that mountain over there. So what'd you do?
I studied. I learned. I've always been someone
Ah.
who loves learning things, and I didn't know where to go. So,
It's not like you have any books in your house or anything. I mean, I'm look-
this is just a small collection here. The
yeah,
big
I'm
bookshelf is
sure.
that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I love reading and I read constantly. And so I picked up books, I watched videos, I listened to audio cassettes. I just kept looking for information. I was in a really good spot because I didn't have to hurry. I was in a good spot where everything was okay, everything was being taken care of. I was meeting my responsibilities, which was key to me.
Hmm.
We all have responsibilities that we need to be meeting, and I was able to do that. And so I took my time and just learned a ton and developed my own process for dealing with stuff, and eventually said, "Okay, I'm going to take that very, very scary leap and jump off this particular mountain and see where it takes me."
And that's a big jump. So you jumped off of being CEO.
I jumped off as CEO. I sold my company. I went from having a team of 25 people around me and having a staff that I could point to and say, I need this done, I need that done, to here I am. I'm at my desk. And
Yep,
yeah,
that's a
so
big shift.
it
That's a
was
huge
it was
shift.
very frightening, but also very exciting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, make you feel made you feel alive, and made you get out of bed. You were saying earlier that you didn't want to
Yes,
get out of bed. Now all of a sudden, you had no choice. Get out of bed,
that's
damn it.
go do something.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And I kind of experienced something similar when I retired. And I had a team of people around me, and all of a sudden I wake up in the morning and go, "Where is everybody?" And but it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And I started this podcast. I wrote a book, and I eventually failed at retirement. And I decided to go back to work. But you know what? It's one of those things where I don't have to work, and so it's not work to me. It's I'm doing it because I love to do it, and I'm doing this podcast because I love to do it. All right, so forget setting aside all that stuff. So what'd you do? What'd you do? And how what can my folks learn from you and your experience?
The biggest thing I think that I did that directed me the most was I stepped back, I turned off all of the outside noise, and the world is very, very loud. And the world wants you to
Oh,
believe whatever they believe, the shiny objects they want to point to you, the whatever trappings of success they have. They are very loud about helping you to see it. And the kind of the tricky part on there also is you have well-meaning people around you that really, really, truly want the best for you, that are also giving you advice about what you should do and what you should do. What I recommend is
all
figure
well
out,
intentioned,
yes, oh yeah,
right?
with
A lot of
your
it is
best
very
interest
well
in mind.
intentioned. Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that about society as a whole, but the friends around you. Um,
Yes.
but but you have to figure out, and this was very enlightening to me the day I figured out that success is different for everybody. And you can't go by what everybody tells you success would be. You have to figure out your own success. And the only way to do that is to figure out, who are you? Turn off the noise and think about you and figure out who you are.
You know, when you just said, I wrote down what you said, the world is very loud. And, one of the things I always say is that we're constantly bombarded with what I call messages of inadequacy, whether it be
Yes.
through social media, whether it be through advertising, whether it be from people that who we associate with. And so not only is the world very loud, in a lot of ways, the world is full of shit. Excuse my French. Right. And I think that's your point, is that, how do you distill, how do you get through all the crap, right? Because the world has expectations of us. And, a lot of us, until you get to a certain point realizing it, well, we get to a point to where we shift. We shift into a place where we go, wait a minute, what are my expectations of myself? Right? Forget
Yeah.
forget what the world expects from me. And so I guess, I mean, is that what you're talking about in terms of learning who you are? Is figuring out, what
Yeah.
what who am I?
Yep, absolutely. And the for some people, some of the stuff that the world is screaming is right on. It's the exact stuff, but it's not true for everybody.
Right.
And so it's important that we spend that time to really dig down and figure out what are the important things, who are the important people, and why. And one of my favorite ways for going about that is to just do a big cloud brainstorm. Sit down with a piece of paper, turn everything off, and sit in a corner if you can by yourself, and just write down everything you can think of that might be of importance to you. You can start grouping that up and finding patterns within that of things that truly are important to you. And you'll find some things that show up on that list. And when you take the time to look at it, you you wonder, why is that on my list? I just don't care about that. And you can cross it off. But it's a nice way to just get all the junk that's in your head that everybody's been yelling at you, throw it up onto a paper and organize it.
Whoa. Whoa, I just imagine myself doing that. So, when you talk about, I think that's brilliant because, things that we think, at the surface are being important. As you go, I can imagine that I'm going through this exercise and I'm going to discover that there are things that are really, really important, and then other things are like, why the hell is that thing there? Why did I write that down? Is that kind of what happens?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's important that you don't just dismiss it out of hand, even if you look at it and say, I don't know why that's there. Figure out why it is there. And if there
Ah.
if there isn't a good reason for it, then you can cross it off. But you may also find you cross something off, and then you're working through things, and you can say, "Oh, now I see why that was there. That is important." So it's an ongoing thing. It's not a do it once for 5 minutes and you're done. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing stuff around, but yeah, you find out a
Oh.
lot when you really isolate, I guess is the best way to identify it. You isolate something and you think about that item. Is it important? Is it not?
So a couple of things come to mind. We talked about, you talked about crossing things off and then realizing that they were important. But I also I can also imagine looking at the things I decided to cross off and asking myself, why did I think that was important?
Yeah.
Right. And there may be some discovery there that's like, why, what, interesting. That's how I'm thinking about things, kind of thing. And the other thing that you said was that you do it all the time. And this isn't just a very simple thing to
Hmm.
do, right? I mean, I got a pen, I got a piece of paper, just start writing, right? And do it for 2 minutes or do it for 5 minutes or give yourself 30 minutes and just go for it, right?
Yeah.
But you said you do it all the time.
Yeah, it's an ongoing thing. And I don't sit down once a week and say I'm going to do this, but I can always feel when I'm starting to things are
Yeah,
starting to be a
yeah.
bit cluttered. And I say, okay, let's take a little check here and see what's
Oh,
going
I
on.
love
What do
that.
I have out of line?
Yeah, that's huge, right? Because it's so different when you put things down on a piece of paper, right? When you write things down or on your
Yeah,
computer, I don't care, right? But all of a sudden, what it does is it takes all that stuff that's jumbled up in your head and you're looking at it, right? You're looking at it and
yeah.
you're going, okay, well, I mean, it really is. It really is an interesting discovery exercise.
Yeah, and it helps you see some of the priorities as far as responsibilities or even the people in your life, because there are things on my list that I myself don't care about, but they're on my list as important because they're important to my wife, and she's the most important person in my world. And if it's important to her, it's important to me. So it makes it to my list, and I understand why it's on my list. And that helps
Right.
me to deal with that too. It's important to her, so it's important to
That's
me.
the thing, right? Is understanding why it's on the list,
Yep.
right? And that is really interesting. Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Successful People. For those, I'm sure you've read this with all the books and
Oh yeah.
as well read as you are, but there's this quadrant, and I'm sharing this with the audience. But there's this quadrant of urgent and important. Um, and there are four categories. One is urgent. Let me back up. Not urgent and not important. Urgent and not important. Not urgent and not important. And what's the last one I'm missing?
Urgent and
Not urgent
important.
and important. Okay. So if you think about this and you think about this quadrant, I think about putting every one of those things in one of those boxes.
Yeah.
And of course, the ones that come up with as not urgent and not important, again, I'm not going to dismiss it, but I'll sit down, I'll look at it, I'll go, why did I think that was important? And why did I think it was urgent? So just using other tools to help
Yeah.
do this analysis, you
Yeah.
know?
No,
So, all right.
that's great. I love Covey.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So what other things, can stop leaving life on the table? I love the title of your book.
Thank you.
What do you mean by that?
That came from a business term you may be familiar with. We left money on the table. And
Yeah.
just to kind of describe it to anyone who's not familiar with it, if I'm going to sell you a bicycle and I sell it to you for $100, we agree on that and it's great. And then I find out that you would have paid $150 for it. Then I, as a seller, left $50 on the table. It's money I could have had I gone after it. I had heard that term for so many years. And one day I realized, we all do that with life. We just leave things on the table, things we want to do, things we could do, things we might be great at, things we might be lousy at, but we enjoy them immensely. The all of those things we don't try because of we're told that it's silly to try or we're afraid to try or we just don't get around to it because we're doing things that don't fit in anywhere. And I found myself doing that. And I want to get to the end of my life and look back and say, wow, that was cool. That was a lot of fun. I did a lot of great things, some big, some small, and I didn't leave any life on the table. So that's where the
Isn't that
title
how
came from.
that isn't that how you want to look back on your life, right? I
Yeah.
had I had a wonderful, wonderful aunt who passed away years ago. And she once told me, she says, John, there comes a point in time where you have more life behind you than you do ahead of you. And she said, and I I went, whoa, right? And she says, so and there also comes a point in time when all you have left to look forward to are your memories. And so, you I think about what you just said about looking back on my life and what did I leave on the table? I don't want to leave anything on the table, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and you know what and it dovetails perfectly with what you were saying just a little while ago about figuring out what's important, right? Writing things down that are important because those things that you think are important that you discover are not important are the things that you want to get out of your life that you want to eliminate so you can focus your time and energy on the things that are important, right? It's it's the
Exactly.
un, it's the unimportant things that you want to leave on the table, right? That you
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
right? And
Is
so I
Yep.
love I love the process that you went through um, in getting there. And you know, years ago, I sat in on a speaker and he called an exercise the rocking chair exercise. Have you heard of it?
I don't think I have.
Okay, this is when you find yourself in a quiet place, or you can be in a quiet place and just make yourself quiet your mind, and imagine yourself and you're 90 years old and you're sitting in a rocking chair. And you're
Okay.
looking over a lake, you're sitting on your front porch, and you're thinking back on your life. What are your regrets? You could do that now, right?
Yeah.
You could do that today. You don't have to wait till you're 90 years old. And I think that I thought that was a pretty powerful metaphor in
Yeah.
terms of, thinking forward by
Yeah.
thinking backwards. Yeah.
That's a great one. I use the in my book I talk about the eulogy one. When you do the same thing, you sit and
Yeah.
you think, what do you want people to say about you at your funeral? And that helps you to tune into some of those things that maybe you're not sure how what do I stand for? Who am I?
Yeah. I mean, what do you want people to say about you? And then go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it. What do you want
Yep.
people to say about your life? And you know what? You're still here.
Yeah.
And where there's a gap of what you want them to say and where you are today, go do it,
Yep.
right?
Find it.
Because you can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
exciting. It's been so much fun. Um, after I made that change because I'm in an entirely different world now, and
yeah.
not just career wise, but just in my own head and in my own life, it's an entirely different place than it was 10 years ago.
And a big part of your life now, and it wasn't in your insurance career, but how important is it to you now that you help others and that you serve others?
Yeah, that actually was the biggest thing that moved me out. Um, while we did good things helping people, and the way we did things in insurance was a little different than what many others did, and we tried to be more directly helpful to the people that we worked with. My wife and I we got involved with some of the homeless community in the Grand Rapids area, and through that we got to know their friends, people they know, and it just that whole area grew, and we developed kind of a heart for seeing the hopelessness that's out there. And it's not just in the homeless community. It's people everywhere. They have this hopelessness. They don't know, what am I supposed to do? I'm just here taking up space. And interestingly, I found that the we talked about midlife. You have the midlife feelings and
Hmm.
what I went through and what you're saying you went through, but it's not that far removed from the 20 somethings that are just getting out of school who
Yeah.
are realizing,
Yeah.
you know what, they told me that life was like this when I was in school. Life isn't like that. And what do I do? So there's similarities there. And then you have the hopelessness of people that nobody has ever been there for them in their life. They haven't been taught anything. They have no skills. And that just it was painful to see and you can see it in the statistics. Depression is up, suicide is up, and that's ridiculous. It's all preventable. Um, People just need to know that they matter, that someone cares about them, and I wanted to be a part of that.
That is beautiful. That is so so powerful. Um, because everybody wants hope. And as we
Yeah.
as we were talking, as you were talking, it occurred to me that, as we talk about that exercise of writing down what's important to you, and you think about not leaving life on the table, right? And that whole process, that doesn't apply to midlife people like you and me. That applies to everybody. It doesn't apply just to rich people. It doesn't apply to just poor. It applies to everybody, young people, old people, homeless people, right?
Yeah.
And it's all about helping and sharing and letting them know that you care, that they are
Yeah.
cared about. Um,
Everybody has something to give and something to share, no matter who they are. Their viewpoint, their words, their thoughts are unique. Nobody else has them. And if we don't have those as a world, then we're less than we would be otherwise. So everybody has something unique to share.
John, I have a feeling that you and I are going to be together for a while, because it's things are in a lot of ways. Um, there is a whole lot of space for people to engage and help. And I think that in the next 5 years, there's going to be a whole lot more space. And what I think is going to make that space is artificial intelligence. I think that if we survive it, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Hmm.
But between now and then, it's called the messy middle. And I am one of those people who believes that anything having to do with intelligence, right? Data, AI is going to do for us. It's
Yes.
going to learn. I had a
Yep.
conversation with a young person who recently graduated from the University of Washington, and she said that she works for PayPal. And she told me, she says, you know what? She says, they expect us to be more and more productive every single day, not every year, every single day, because AI. And I said, well, how does that work? She goes, well, we use AI, and as AI learns what we do, it helps us be more productive. And what struck me in those words is that as AI learns what we do, AI gets smarter.
Hmm.
And pretty soon, AI knows the entire job. And you're seeing that happen all over where, I mean, young people, the people I feel really sorry for are young people who are graduating from college today, who 4 years ago went into college thinking they were going to get their computer sciences degree and come out making high six figures a year. And now they're graduating just 4 years later. And there's nobody, no, there's nobody on the other side of the door when they walk out with their diploma,
Yeah.
right? They're like, where is everybody?
Yep.
And so I feel like what you're talking about, John, is going to be is super important. And man, what a gift. What a gift. I mean, I wish someone would have told me when I was just coming out of college to write down what's important to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
You were talking about AI. I gave a talk this past weekend about AI and its place. And I agree with you 100%. On the data stuff, computers are quicker, more efficient than we can be, ever will be. But AI is limited in that none of its experiences are real. They
Right.
can't, AI cannot hold your hand and say it's going to be okay. They can't look you in the eyes and say, I've been there, and be that emotional connection. That is inherently human and always will be. As long as we don't give away that ability and that process to data, we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, my thoughts about AI have evolved very, very quickly. And they've evolved very quickly because it's changing so quickly and
Yeah.
it's changing our world so quickly. A lot of people a couple of years ago would say, well, I don't have to worry about machine learning. I don't have to worry about AI. I'm a programmer. It's never going to be able to do what I do. Hello, right? Um, Companies are not hiring junior programmers anymore. It's a real challenge for a lot of people. Attorneys have told me, "Oh yeah, I don't have to worry about AI." I mean, it is turning the world upside down,
Yep.
right beneath our feet.
Yep.
And one of the things that I've also said is that AI can never replace humanity, our humanity.
Right.
I I I believe that to my core. I want to continue to believe that to my core. But the other day I read a study that said 20% of young men prefer an artificial robot over humans for their relationships. And I went, whoa, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be really, really careful of this. But the things that we're talking about right here, I do believe are the kinds of things that, and like you said, AI hasn't experienced the things we've experienced, right? AI can't look you in the eye and provide that empathy and that human touch that we all want. And so I think what you're doing right now and what you've dedicated your life to is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. There are so many people out there that you see every day, that we all see every day, that they just need someone to tell them they're okay. And
Not only are they okay, that they're amazing,
yeah,
right? Every one of us
that's
is a
nice.
miracle.
Yeah.
Every one of us is a miracle. And like you said earlier, every one of us has something to give. So go, if you haven't tried it before, go try it. Go try to give somebody something of yourself.
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as some of your time. It can be as
Yep.
simple as listening to them. It can be as simple as acknowledging their existence,
Yeah.
right?
And if you don't know how to do it, there's lots of organizations that would love to have you knock on the door and say, "How can I help?" And
And you
they'll
know
put
what?
you
If you
right in
don't know
front of
how to do
someone.
it, if you don't know how to do it, go ask ChatGPT. Just type in what is an easy way for me to help others, and it'll come up with 1,000 different answers for you. And you pick the one that resonates with you, right?
Yep. That it
Yeah,
certainly would work. Yeah.
I love this. I love this. Well, listen, John. All right, stop leaving life on the table. Give us your best shot. What do you want to leave us with?
That you matter. There
Hmm.
are a lot of things that you've been told that may be true, maybe not. Figure out if they are. And uh, one of the things that I hit on in the book is don't get stuck on work-life balance. There's no such thing. There's only a balanced life. Work is part of life, as just like sleeping is, playing is, tuning up the car is. It's all part of life. So work on life balance. That's going to change. It's going to adjust as you go through life, as the different needs are there. So figure out who you are, how you need to balance all that, how you need to prioritize. It's very, very simple, but it's not always easy. And
Exactly.
but know that you have a purpose, and we need that purpose, whatever that is. We need whatever that purpose is. The rest of us need to have it. So feel confident in yourself, believe in yourself, and know that others believe in you as well.
A lot of people have a hard time believing that they matter,
Yeah.
right? Um, because of whatever experiences they've had, wherever they are in life. And you know, what strikes me is what is an easy way for them to understand and realize that they matter,
I
you
think
know?
if you think about yourself, and I don't mean that to exclude everybody else. I mean just actually think about you and realize that the combination that you are is the only one. There is no other combination of everything that makes up anybody else. So you are unique. And even in the worst things that society throws at us, scarcity is one that it always says is valuable. There aren't that many of these, so you need to get one now. You know,
Mm.
well, there's only one of you. You're valuable. You're scarce.
There's only one of you. There's never been another of you, and there never will be another of you.
Nope.
And I believe that we all share a common purpose, and that is to make the world better than the day we landed on it. And there's so many ways. I mean, you matter.
Yeah.
You really matter. And I think about, um, back years ago when the Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter and everybody, all these things that matter. I don't think I ever heard anybody say, you matter.
If it was out there, it was very rare. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, folks. Okay, folks. There you have it. There you have it. The name of John's book is Stop Leaving Life on the Table. I love that. It's a takeoff of Stop Leaving Money on the Table.
Right.
And his website is www.thecoach.vip. Again,
Right.
that's www. I don't know if I have to say that anymore if I just age myself. Anyway, it's thecoach.vip. Okay, as a very important person. That's you. So, with that, John, thank you for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. I took notes. Folks, write down everything that's important to you, and do that. Don't make that a one-time shot
Right.
because you know what? Life changes, and as life goes on, your priorities change, and the things that are
Right.
important to you change. And so keep working on it, and understand that you matter. Understand that you matter,
Yeah.
right?
And don't get
And
mad at
go for it.
yourself when you mess up because you will. I guarantee you'll do
Yeah,
something wrong. Don't get
yeah.
mad. We all do. It's a learning process.
And one of the really wonderful things that John and I have learned in our lives is that there's not just one mountain, right? I mean, you get to the top of the mountain that you're on, and folks, the view is amazing. And from the top, you can see lots of other mountains to go up and
Right.
conquer. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing. All right. So get to it. Get to it. So with that, John, thank you for joining me. I love you. God bless you. Everybody out there, thanks for joining me. Share this, and thanks for joining John and me. Share this. There's folks out there that need to hear John's message. Okay. I love you. God bless you. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.